The history of the Virgin Mary and her functions in regard to her Son, as presented alike in the Gospels and in Catholic tradition and ritual, are in every particular those of the soul, to whom it is given to be Mother of God in man. Her acts and graces, as well as his life and passion, belong to the experience of every redeemed man. As the Christ in him delivers him from the curse of Adam, so the Virgin Mary in him delivers him from the curse of Eve, and secures the fulfillment of the promise of the conquest over the serpent of matter. And whereas as sinner he has seen enacted in his own interior experience the drama of the fall, so as saint he enacts the mysteries represented in the Rosary of the Virgin, his soul passing in turn through every stage of her joys, her sorrows, and her glories. Wherefore the part assigned to Mary in the Christian Evangel is the part borne by the soul in all mystical experience. That which first beguiles and leads astray the soul is the attraction of the illusory world of mere phenomena, which is aptly represented under the figure of the serpent with glittering coils, insinuating mien, and eyes full of fascination. Yielding to this attraction, through directing her gaze outwards and downwards instead of inwards and upwards, the soul, as Eve, has abandoned celestial realities for mundane shadows, and entangled in her fall the mind, or Adam. Thus the mind and soul fall together and lose the power of desiring and apprehending the divine things which alone make for life, and so become cast out of divine conditions, and conscious only of material environments and liable to material limitations. This substitution of the illusory for the real, of the material for the spiritual, of the phenomenal for the substantial, constitutes the whole sin and loss of the fall. Redemption consists in the recovery of the power once more to apprehend, to love, and to grasp the real. Original sin from which Mary is exempt is precisely the condition of blindness which, owing to the soul's emergence in materiality, hinders the perception of divine things. By no possibility can the divine life be generated in any soul afflicted with this blindness. Christ cannot be conceived save of a soul immaculate and virgin as to matter, and meet to become the spouse of the divine Spirit. Therefore, as the soul as Eve gives consent to the enunciation of the serpent, so as Mary, become virgin, she gives consent to the enunciation of the angel, and understands the mystery of the motherhood of the man regenerate. She has no acts of her own. All the acts of her Son are hers also. She participates in his nativity, in his manifestation, in his passion, in his resurrection, in his ascension, in his Pentecostal gift. He himself is her gift to the world, but it is always he who operates. She who asks, acquiesces, consents, responds. Through her, he outflows into the mind and external man, and so into life and conduct. As Augustine says, all graces pass to us through the hands of Mary. For the purified soul is the mediatrix, as she is the genetrix of the divine presence. The Church speaks of the ascension of Christ and of the assumption of Mary. Christ, being deific in nature and of heavenly origin, ascends by his own power and will. But the soul is assumed or drawn up by the power and will of her Son. Of herself she is nothing. He is her all in all. Where he abides, thither must she be uplifted, by force of the divine union which makes her one with him. Henceforth she abides in the real, and has the illusions of sense forevermore underfoot. It is not of herself that Mary becomes Mother of God in man. The narrative of the Incarnation implies a conjunction of human, though not physical, and divine potencies. Mary receives her infant by an act of celestial energy, overshadowing and vitalizing her with the divine life. This is because the pure soul is as a lens to the divine rays, polarizing them and kindling fire therefrom. Having this attitude towards God, she has kindled in her that holy flame which becomes the light that enlightens the world. The final state of the soul of the man regenerate is described in the Apocalypse under the figure of a marriage, wherein the contracting parties are the soul herself and the now divine spirit of the man, which is called the Lamb. The description of this Lamb as slain before the foundation of the world denotes the original and eternal act of self-immolation, typified in the Eucharist, whereby deity descends into conditions and distributes of itself to be the life and substance of the universe, alike for its creation, its sustentation, and redemption. In the crowning act of this stupendous drama, the act which mystically is called the consummation of the marriage of the Son of God, the Spirit and Bride, as King and Queen of the perfected individuality, are indissolubly united, and the human is taken up into the divine, having received the gift of God, which is life eternal. Not merely a gift from God, although God is the giver, but a gift of God's own substantial self, the infinite and eternal I Am, being individualized in him. As already shown, the initial and final stages of man's spiritual evolution are indicated by Paul when read with the mystic sense and translated into the eternal now. He says, "He is at first Adam, a living soul, a soul having derived life. He is at last Christ, a life-giving spirit, or spirit that is itself divine life. In the former all die, in the latter all are made to live." From this it appears that the Bible sets forth the higher evolution, that is, the redemption, called also the new creation, of man, as a dual process occurring simultaneously in his two constituents, himself and his soul. And whereas for the former in masculine the first and last terms are, respectively, Adam and Christ, for the latter in feminine they are Eve and Mary, called also the bride.